How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to the Winners Club podcast. Now, in today's new freestyle, we're going to be talking about artificial maturity and its effect on today's society. Now, again, if you are new to the channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and also turn on the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. You can also follow our socials that'll be linked down below in the description, as well as the audio version of this episode that'll be also linked down below. Now, we hope you all have a lovely day and a great week. Now, let's get into today's freestyle.
All right, we're live. So I was reading this book the other day. It's called Chop Wood, Carry Water. I got inspired to read it because I don't know why I just was following Kyrie Irving a lot. I don't know why. I was just really interested by him. He's super controversial, and I used to hate him being a Celtics fan, so I couldn't stand him. But now I don't know. I was interested by him. He's controversial. I like listening to controversial people. So he said this quote. Obviously, when he's thrashed in the media, um, he just said this quote in an interview: "Just chop wood, carry water. Chop wood, carry water." And then I looked that saying up, and it turns out to be a book. Read a bunch of reviews on it. I guess it's a super super good book. I'm kind of I think I'm a quarter way through it, and so far I really really enjoy it. It's kind of talking about this young boy named John who is going through archery training, but to he's really eager to learn how to do the archery. But first, his master is telling him to first master chop wood, carry water. Basically, the way that they survive at this tribune in China, where he is, where he's doing his training, is to chop wood because they don't have any electricity, so they burn wood for fuel and for warmth, and then they carry the water all the way to wells because they don't have any running water. So that's very frustrating for this character named John, and as he keeps going through things, he's learning, and his master is always telling him that he is going to be very, very strong and he's going to be very, very wise because he's gaining knowledge through experience of kind of the world that we live in. I feel that now the world that we live in is based a lot off of artificial maturity. So what I got really inspired to think about was how we live in a world full of artificial maturity. So when we see things presented to us, information, it's it's spun in a way where it's trying to persuade you to believe it. Even in school, when we're in class, teachers have specific viewpoints on what they feel to be right and wrong, and then they teach that to you. So then students will then take that information in and digest it, but it could totally be just an opinionated claim, not even true facts. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Which is artificial maturity. So one thing that really, really jumps out to me from that is just this whole fiasco going on right now, or this dilemma of Tucker Carlson leaving. What news station is it? Fox or CNN? It's CNN, right?
CNN.
CNN.
CNN, yeah.
And how now he's coming clean about how everything was scripted, how he was very uncomfortable presenting some of the information, and obviously he was made out to be this super controversial figure. Um, and it was just because the news is reporting news, but spins it in a way. So when we see CNN and we see Fox and we see these two big, big news stations spit out information that is spun in two totally different ways. So I feel like when people are intaking that information, um, it can be detrimental to society and the way we even perceive things on a day-to-day basis. I think the best form of knowledge is experiencing things firsthand. So another example I was just talking about in my philosophy class. I'm like giving you guys a lecture right now, so feel free to come in. I'm passionate about talking about this shit.
Yeah.
Um, of how can we change race in America? Racism sadly still exists. Something that I proposed was genuinely conducting a study. Um, you could sample 200 blacks, 200 whites, all in the same domain, or cohort. So it could be um, 200 50-year-old black males and 200 50-year-old white males and swap everything for like a week. Swap socioeconomic status, swap even just rights. So if one of them gets pulled over, say a white a white man gets pulled over who behaves just like any other person, but was then just stigmatized as being black, I guarantee you they would be treated a little bit differently. It's just the sad truth. So I think that would be something that would definitely shape people's perspectives because they would have experienced it firsthand. The knowledge of racism still exists. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
What y'all think about that though? Because I thought that was kind of like an interesting. We had a very big discussion about this in class, but
Hmm.
do you think that could work?
I do like that idea of switching the perspectives because it's like live in my shoes, walk in my shoes for a mile, then see what's up, then you
Exactly. And then
understand it.
talk,
You know
you
what I
know?
mean?
Hmm.
So for that, I think whites will really understand, but think about it, they're not staying in that position; they're getting swapped back. So do you really think that they're gonna they'll see it, but they're like, okay, but I'm getting put back into my original territory, so that's not gonna happen to me on a day to day basis. I did see a video. I don't know if you guys saw it, of Morgan Freeman in an interview where they were talking about racism and how to stop it, and he said, "Stop talking about it. If you want to solve racism, just stop talking about it." And that kind of stuck with me for a bit because I'm like, I mean, to be honest, he's right. It's everybody's perceptions on certain things is what makes racism racism. Like for example, we affiliate. Whenever let's say this right. So whenever say you're with a group of black people, right? And a cop drives by, and one of them says something like, "Oh, like that's police." Like you're already affiliating, police brutality with black people. You know what I'm saying? If you don't say anything and you don't talk about it, it wouldn't be a thing. So I completely agree with Morgan Freeman when when he says that. I do like what you said, Gibby, but the only problem with that is when you get put back into your original territory, I think it's going to go back to normal. You could solve it for a couple hours, but I don't think it's going to, stay like that, unfortunately, because that's not how the world works. So that's what I think.
No, you're right. I meant, all right, what I meant when I said conduct a study, it obviously would have to be an ethical study, but I meant more so where these people who swap then report results and then we provide this data to a bunch of people, like we publish what we found. Do you know what I mean? So each person,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you're right, things would go back to normal, but I meant you would sample what we learned from everybody's conclusion about how they felt. So when people swapped, so when black people, inherited the roles of white people in society, they would report, oh, they felt more powerful. They felt all these other things. And then when obviously the white people swapped into the black roles of society, they would say they felt threatened. Um, the economic world is not fair, all these other things, you know what I mean? So then we would take that information, put it in an article, and then publish it, and hopefully it gets recognition. That was what I was saying, but I fully
Mm-hmm.
agree. I think we should also just stop talking about it because the more we talk about it, the more we're speaking it into existence. Um,
More is gonna happen. That's all it is. You know what I mean?
it's almost like it's almost like reciprocating negative energy repeatedly. It's just only going to cycle through. And we always talk about rewiring our brains. How about we just, I mean, it sounds a lot, it's easier said than done, but just wake up and just truly start treating each other equally. I think it's as simple as that in
Mm.
society. The government obviously wants us to be against each other because by doing that, they'll
Mm.
never feel threatened that they will be overthrown. But I don't know.
Did you guys see that video though? With the Morgan Freeman thing.
I did not,
You
but
didn't
I
see that
like,
video? In
no.
the other half of the video, he also had said something along the lines of, like, I'm gonna ask you to stop calling me a black man and I'm gonna stop calling you a white man. Because we're automatically, saying each other's race with that.
Hmm.
And because deep down inside, if I call you guys white man, you call me a black man, right? You're already putting race into it, which deep down could lead to racism. It doesn't sound like it's racism. It's the craziest thing in the world, but
It is.
some people interpret it that way. So he was like, like I said, I'm gonna stop calling you a white man. You're gonna start calling me a black man. We're both men. So that's what he means by let's stop talking about it. So
Hmm.
I personally agree with that. What
I
do you
like
guys
that a
think?
lot. I think there's I think everybody is just the same. We just have different cultural influences. As simple as that. There's no difference whatsoever. We all bleed the exact same color. We all have the same chromosomes, the
Mhm.
interior makeup of our bodies. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's different genetics and shit like that. I meant more so. You have pectoral muscles. I have pectoral muscles. I have biceps. You have biceps. You know what I'm saying? We both have a skeletal system, respiratory systems, and things like that. So I fully agree. I like that a lot.
So I'm gonna go all the way back to my encounter with artificial maturity, and I think it just stems for all of us probably history class. You know, you get for the like the example I know is you get told Christopher Columbus is like a great guy throughout your whole entire history, but you're not sort of seeing, or that's what I was taught in my history class at least, but you're not seeing the other half of the narrative. It's getting chopped off basically probably because teachers taught that in class. And I think all of Western history, they're teaching that Christopher Columbus is a great guy, but I guarantee you go to different countries and its history is being taught completely differently in a different perspective. Same way with sort of Fox News and then CNN News, how it's basically the left and the right. It's two different narratives, so they're gonna spin two different information to one side and the other side, keeping us divided as people. And what's funny is I was playing golf the other day, and one of my dad's friends, he has an app that actually, so you get what the left has for their news and then what the right has for their news, but you also get in the middle. So it's like you get one side, the other side, and then you get the actual truth of what story it is and all of that. And I'm sure you guys have seen the Joe Rogan clip where he plays all the news anchors, and it's all the same script, and they're all saying the same thing. It's like 40 different news channels. It's kind of insane how they're all the same, like spreading the same information and all sort of scripted the same. It's eye opening. But that was sort of my sort of eye opener with artificial maturity, and I think the Tucker Carlson example is the best one. He was someone who was on a news station and didn't like what he was being told through by that big corporate company. And look at now, he's completely fired because he tried standing up for his own saying. And I think that's what a lot of times, a lot of people now don't really stand by their word anymore. I think a lot of people sort of just apologize to that big corporate company and not sort of stick by their word. But that was my take on artificial maturity. And my camera's out. Nice.
That actually kind of ended perfectly because now I know where to cut it. Actually, I'm gonna
Yeah,
mark this. All right.
that was really well said, Brett.
Thank you.
I agree though, and I never knew that there was news that switched from the left and the right and then in the middle.
I didn't either
That's
until I got told that. I
that's
was like, it's
that's
crazy.
crazy, but that's the stuff that people need is to then get presented information without any kind of compromise or influence behind it,
Mhm.
and then uh make a hypothesis on what to believe. Because I feel like when people are presented information without even experiencing it firsthand, without really even digesting it themselves, we then live in a world of artificial maturity.
Now, we hope you enjoyed today's listen to the new freestyle. Again, if you are new to the channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and also turn on the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. Make sure to also like the video and let us know in the comments below what you liked and what you didn't like, as all feedback will be very much appreciated. And the link to the audio version of this episode will be linked down below, as well as all of our socials, which you can follow those to stay up to date with the Winners Club content. And now we hope you all have a lovely day and a great week. And until next time.